Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got this Toro 22-inch recycler mower. It's got the Briggs Stratton 190cc engine on it. We've came across an issue with these about 5 times in the last 2 months. And the first time it happened, it was a real head scratcher, didn't know exactly what was going on. We got it solved and figured that we'd never see it again. But here we are 4 or 5 times later, and we're seeing it more and more. So there's gotta be small engine repair shops or mechanics or homeowners out there that are having this same problem but don't know exactly how to solve it. I'm going to show you how to figure out if it is the same issue and how to take care of that if it is. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons as we go along if you enjoy the content. This mower actually starts up and runs perfectly fine. It runs great until you're anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes into mowing, and then it starts to run erratically or will cut out or stall and die. Customer says it's usually when they're pushing the handle or pulling the handle for the self-propel. When they're moving it around is when it's dying, and it happens when the fuel tank is lower on gas. Well, when this first came in, as many of them do, the customer had replaced the fuel cap with their cap. So it was an aftermarket fuel cap. We diagnosed it and actually found that the tank was not venting. So the fuel, if you tested it coming out, which I'll show you how to do here shortly, if you tested it coming out going to the carburetor, it would flow just for a couple seconds and then it would cut off to almost nothing, just barely dripping. Not enough to keep the mower running. Well, with that aftermarket cap, we figured, well, hey, we'll replace it with an OEM cap. We'll replace it with the one that's supposed to be on there that vents. Well, we got this venting cap and replaced it again. Lo and behold, it's back. And why is that? The cap that we got is still not venting. You can diagnose this and confirm that the fuel cap is the problem very easily by removing the cap or loosening it when it starts to die out or starts to run rough. If it runs better once that's loose or off, then you know you found it. Let's remove the air cleaner cover and the air filter. Check your fuel tank for any debris or foreign items down in the bottom. You'll see the filter if you look at an angle down in there. If there's a bunch causing blockage, it could cause the same symptoms. We can double check what we think's going on by removing the air filter base. There's 2 5/16 screws on the outside. And then you're going to have 2 7mm screws that attach directly to the carburetor on the inside. These are real fine thread, or I'm sorry, real coarse thread, because they go directly into plastic. You want to be safe when you're putting them back on that you don't strip them out. They're very sensitive. Take the base, just pull straight out. And there is a breather tube that needs to be hooked back up when we put everything back together. The real test, we've got the fuel line going to the carburetor. We want to remove the fuel line clamp from the side. Just pinch and bring it over. And I like to use needle nose pliers, kind of twist, and then pull it off. And let's see what happens once we do that. Here we are, lots of flow. And then guess what? Absolutely nothing. We're just dripping. It should continue to flow like we originally saw the entire time. That is not enough gas to continue to run the mower. We've confirmed. And then once you loosen that cap, what happens? It starts to flow perfectly fine again. Why is that? We know that the cap on these does need a vent, but we've ordered the correct cap for this model and it's not right. It is not venting. Even though it is an OEM Briggs & Stratton part, it's not working like it should. That's, again, not enough flow. I've got one here off of a mower and back that is the same tank and everything, same part number for the tank, at least original part number. I'll talk a little more about that in a second. Let's see how this one does when we perform the same test. So I'll take this one off. I'm just going to put this one on instead. I'm going to worry about hooking it up. I switched out the towel. I didn't want that gas just sitting on there. The customer's mower. Let's see what this one does. Now what do we get? Perfect flow. There's no restriction. It's flowing as fast as it possibly can. And it's going to continue to flow because that fuel cap of that other mower is venting like it should be. The problem is that the replacement fuel caps do not vent like the original ones. The ones that came on here vented just fine. The replacements, they do not have a vent. They say that this is a replacement for that part number, and it's not. I have not been able to find, unless you order one that states the original number, I'll put both of those numbers up on the screen now. I have not been able to find one that vents, and I've tried numerous caps. Unless it was the one that came on this exact tank, which the tank is ventless, the cap's supposed to vent, it will not work. And I cannot find those anymore. I've got a fix for it. I'll show you exactly how to fix your cap if you order one of these without causing any problems, but it's just a workaround. It's not right that you should have to do this when you're ordering an OEM replacement part directly from Briggs. How can you tell the difference between the two? Well, if you take this actual collar off, that is the one off of our other machine, and this is the new one. And we go around, what we're going to see is that right here, there's a little hole right under where that collar goes. And if you look at the new one, this one does not have that hole. If yours has the hole, it's going to vent just fine. If it doesn't have the hole, it's not going to vent. I don't know exactly how that works, actually. I don't see anywhere else where that hole goes in anywhere, but I reached out to the rep and I found a quick and pretty simple fix for this by just removing the O-ring. This is the new cap. And I'm going to use a 1/16 drill bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a tiny little hole right here at this upper spot, the upper spot right where the O-ring goes. I'm going to drill a hole just right kind of at like a 22.5 degree angle towards the inside, so it barely pinches or pierces this cavity and it'll vent. And that'll keep gas from splashing around or anything because it's above the O-ring, but it will allow it to vent and we'll be able to keep running. Now, before I reached out to this particular rep, I reached out to another one, and he said he had never heard of the issue. As soon as you're through there, see I just barely went through on the backside. Clean all that metal out, clean it up real good. You don't want, and I said metal, clean up the plastic. Hopefully you don't have metal in your plastic cap after you've drilled through it. Now all we have to do is put our O-ring back on. There, I'm going to put the tank keeper back on, and then we're going to reinstall this. And one more time, I've kind of doubled up the cloth because it's going to come out of here quick again. Now this is not quite as fast as the other one, but it is continuing to flow, and that is enough to keep your mower running. It's a fix that allows it not to leak and allows your mower to work exactly how it should. No matter the load that it's under, this amount of fuel will keep your mower running. That's all you need coming out of there. You can leave it like this forever and it'll continue to flow. Pretty simple and easy fix, but just something that was omitted by Briggs. Even with this bouncing around though, we've tested that out thoroughly and it does not leak as long as it's drilled right above that O-ring at an angle. And we don't want to go much bigger than 1/16 of an inch. If you go much bigger, the risk of that leaking is going to be much higher. Get that taken care of, quick and easy. Briggs hopefully will start to sell us the right venting fuel caps here soon, or sell two different options instead of just one for both tanks when it doesn't work on one that does not have a different vent for the tank itself. Hopefully this has helped you out. If you had the same or a similar issue, or going forward if you run into this at any point. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons if you enjoyed the content. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. We'll get our fuel clamp back on. The breather tube I always like to clean out real well. Luckily I've got some gas soaked towels right here, makes it kind of easy. And then on the back side too, you don't want anything really in this base at all. It can get sucked into the intake. And then we're just going to slide the breather tube onto that tab in the back. And we'll do that as we're kind of pushing everything straight in. I like to just hold it with my finger there when it's out, and then you can push it on to make sure it doesn't come off when you're putting it back together. And then we've just got our two 7mm ones in the middle. Again, you want to be real careful when putting those middle ones in because they're screwing into plastic. And then with the ones on the outside, it's a real thin metal you're screwing into. So kind of the same thing. Be very gentle. Don't over tighten or you will strip it out. Clean up your air cleaner. And then also the cover. Put that back on. And we're all set and ready to rock.